At night, driving on the freeway and in bad weather, I can't see far enough to react safely, and honestly, that's the most dangerous thing about my truck. So today, for 330 bucks, we're installing some of these LED headlights without replacing factory housings to try and make the truck safer. This is my 2017 Ford F-150 XLT, and one thing I've ignored way too long is the halogen headlights. So today we're going to be upgrading those. We've done the suspension, we've done the tires, and now it's time to fix the biggest safety issue on the truck. You can get these halogens replaced with this LED here, and you can just buy the LED, and for about 330 bucks, they were on sale just recently. I think it's a great upgrade. Now, I did decide, because I wanted them all to match, I went ahead and replaced all the lights except for the third mount brake light and the license plate lights on the truck with LEDs. So I replaced all the marker lights, all the blinkers, and the tail lights as well, and I think it ended up looking really good in the end. For me, this upgrade was less about looks and more about safer driving, especially where the majority of driving I do in the truck now is in the dark at night or in the early hours of the morning. And also we do a lot of driving on some rural highways and stuff that don't have the best lighting at night. So with these halogen headlamps, they do make it hard to see far enough. Now, before I had this truck, I actually had a 2000 Jeep Wrangler and a 1992 Nissan Sentra. So when I first got this F-150, the halogen headlamps were actually a huge upgrade to what I was driving. But then we got my wife's car, and her Bronco, the LED headlights are just way better than what's in this truck. So after getting used to driving that, I realized how unsafe these headlights actually are compared to some of the more modern options. The whole point of this truck build has been to make this truck more capable without spending new truck money. And although it may never be what a new truck is, you know, we've done suspension, we've done tires, and now the lights. And out of all those upgrades, I think this is actually one of the best ones you can do to make the truck more usable. It really does just increase the safety tenfold having these on there. If you like this kind of content with these practical upgrades on the F-150, and pretty soon I'll be doing some on the Bronco as well, then I definitely consider subscribing, because I'll have a lot more of these coming out in the future. When I was looking at this upgrade, I wanted to get the biggest overall improvement in the headlights without changing the factory housings. That way it would fit into my budget and be a more cost-conscious decision. Like I said, I don't really look for the aesthetic upgrade in this. I really just wanted the safety aspect. And for the money I was spending, I felt like I found that in these headlights. With the aftermarket housings in my previous experience on the wholesale side of selling vehicles, as well as working at a dealer, I found that cheap aftermarket housings are not worth it. If you get the cheaper ones, they end up leaking water, they get foggy over time, and they just don't hold up. So if you are going to go aftermarket, definitely spend the money to get nice housings. It's going to save you so much hassle in the long run and last so much longer. But in this case, we're going to just upgrade the bulbs. One of the challenges with just upgrading bulbs in a halogen headlight vehicle is the resistance in the bulb's different than the factory. So especially on these newer vehicles where the computer controlled, they require a driver like this one to actually run the bulb properly. The other problem is upgrading to an LED. They need a different cooling system than the halogens do. So because of that, they actually give you some different grommets for the back of the headlight housing, and then they put these fans on the back of the bulbs themselves to keep them cool. We'll see how these hold up over time, but I think these are two things that this particular headlight from F-150 LEDs does well. Now, along those same lines, I ran into one major issue when I was installing these, and this headlight that I'm holding here actually got warrantied. I got everything pulled apart, installed, and for whatever reason, this one was fine when the vehicle's off. It would turn on. As soon as the vehicle would turn on and the body control module would try and activate the headlights, it would shut off. So I was getting an intermittent headlight if I cycled the switch, it would flip on for a second and then immediately turn off. So I had to contact F-150 LEDs. Now, one thing that's nice is they are an American-owned company and they're operated out of Georgia. So it's actually super easy to get a hold of them. I've seen some reviews where they say it wasn't. I just sent them a text and within a few minutes, they had another one coming. Now, their customer service was great, but unfortunately they use USPS for shipping. So it took a week to get the warranty replacement back. So just a heads up, keep your old halogen ones just in case something goes wrong on the install. I think part of the problem with this specifically was you really have to shove this driver into the headlight housing. I'm not doing a full tutorial on the install. There's a lot of those out there, but if you look at the tutorial on these, you have to adjust the headlight all the way down to get the bulb installed, and then you got to adjust it back up to shove this driver and this wiring harness back into the housing itself before you install the grommets, and it's a very tight fit. So I wonder if maybe doing that on this one, I was just a little too rough and possibly damaged it while I was installing it. It's definitely possible, but either way, I think that's something to be aware of when you're installing these. And like I said, the F-150 LED guys, they were great in getting me a replacement sent out, and they got it sent out quickly. The other challenge you have putting in a different headlight than what's intended into the F-150 like this one is the projector housings are meant for halogen, not LED. If you look at LED projector housings, they're typically designed differently than the halogen housing. So when I put these in, you know, I was expecting some overflow and some lights, and I will admit they're kind of hard to adjust. So it's hard to adjust them to get them exactly right. You do have to turn the bulbs in the housings to get them adjusted just right to get the optimal beam pattern, and it takes some work. Once I actually got both the lights installed and working, even before the road test, it was pretty obvious that these are a much cleaner, white, bright light, and it really did make a huge difference from the yellow halogen. Even though the F-150, I'd say stock, the halogen headlights are okay for what halogens are. The beam pattern was obviously much better. And on the road where it really matters, you can see, I'll put up some video of me driving down the same road, same time of night, same darkness, and the beam pattern is just so much brighter. It really throws a lot more light compared to what the factory LEDs did. The brights are crazy bright on this thing. And then the other thing that I did notice, but it was hard to get on camera, was the light throws actually almost 180 degrees off the front of the truck. So it really does put a lot of usable light out in front of you. Now, I will say with the road test, I had to come back and adjust the headlights just a little bit to make the beam pattern just slightly better. The biggest problem is putting these into those halogen projectors. It really does throw the beam around quite a bit. So you have to get the headlight adjusted just right in the housing. Otherwise, it's just not gonna pattern properly. So with everything adjusted, overall, for me, the usable light's much better. People stopped flicking their brights at me as I was driving down the highway once I got them adjusted right. So that was a good plus. Part of the road test, when I came back, I actually got the reverse lights as well. So I went with the Aries reverse lights, and honestly, I wasn't going to at first, and I was gonna go to the lower model because I didn't know if I wanted those bright reverse lights, but I got the Aries, and I'll tell you what, they are super bright. I think they're awesome. They're a great upgrade for visibility if you are, you know, reversing, if you have trailers that you're hooking up at night, or just reversing down dark, you know, rural roads in general. I think it's an awesome upgrade, but they're so bright that I would consider what you're using the truck for. And if you're driving a lot at night and you live in a small apartment complex, this might not be the upgrade for you. You're gonna drive your neighbors crazy if you're turning those on and blasting them in their windows all the time. They're that bright. I mean, at the grocery store, even when I go to reverse out of a parking stall, it's almost embarrassing how bright the lights are. It's like turning on headlights. They're that bright. So great upgrade. I think they're awesome. Maybe not for everybody. And if I went back and did it again, I would probably buy these personally because they are pretty cool. But if I had got the less bright ones, I probably would have been happy with those as well. So what's the verdict on these? Well, they aren't a magic trick. They didn't turn the truck into the brand new premium LEDs like a lot of the newer F-150s have. But for 330 bucks, I feel like the value is definitely there. Like I said, the light is definitely more usable than a factory truck. And overall, I think that's an excellent upgrade to what I currently have. I think if you did have the budget to get quality aftermarket housings to put into a truck that does have halogens like this one, that would probably be the better option overall as far as just like pure performance. But for what I got for $330 on a budget, I think in that triangle that we've talked about in some of my other videos, these really do fall into a good economic performance range. We'll test the reliability as we go, and if I do have any more issues with reliability on them, I'll definitely bring them up in my future videos. But thanks for watching.